We are red. Red is on.
Okay, good evening and welcome to the Thursday, July 26, 2018 Selectmen's meeting. And we're all present. Let's stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first thing that we have on our agenda tonight is the approval of the minutes. 7/12 we start with.
Here. If the selectman recuses and the rest vote all in favor, can you say that it's a unanimous roll call vote?
I think so, because that's his.
Yes.
That's okay.
So what's considered?
Okay.
It might be easier just to say it was a 4-0 vote, which would then signify it's unanimous plus one recused.
On 2 of 4, at 6 p.m. Selectmen schedule moved and seconded by Dawson to seal the minutes as it pertained to personnel permit. Motion carried. Selectman Constantino, not abstained but recluse, because abstained is actually a vote. It should be recluse from the voting.
I was at 5:02 p.m. on the next page. Yeah, down further.
Down further, at 6 p.m., it should be reclused.
Just above that. See the sentence above it says Selectman Constantine recused herself on a unanimous roll call vote, motion carried.
Right,
Okay.
he's asking if it's
This is-
abstained or recused when he sealed the minutes.
When we seal the
It should
minutes,
say decline to vote. When you abstain to vote, it's usually understood that when you abstain to vote, then you're agreeing with the...
it's actually part of the vote.
Agreeing with the body.
Okay, so decline.
It would be declined or reclused herself from the voting.
No, yeah, it should be recused because I
You still-
wasn't, I didn't want to be a part of the.
You remember that whenever you abstain, basically you're saying, I don't know how to vote, so I'm just going to go with the majority vote.
If you abstain, that's the way you're doing it.
It's
right?
actually a vote.
Right. I believe I recused myself from that, didn't I?
You did. But
Okay.
then when you selectmen had sealed, you said abstain.
I did say abstain?
Yeah.
Thank you for catching
A
that.
technicality.
Yeah, but it's
We,
probably-
it's, yeah.
This looks better.
Sure, I agree with the way that you wrote the question of payroll, including a holiday. There was a spirited discussion of the difference between the legislative meeting and an explanation from Rob. I don't think we got an explanation from Rob. He wasn't even here when that conversation happened, and I didn't see anything in writing. And then we did get an explanation from Tim.
That's after the fact.
Yeah.
So what happened was, led to obtaining or, maybe obtaining is not the right word, led to
Seeking?
requesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would make sense. Right. Right. They requested an explanation from Robert Town. Make a motion, we accept the minutes as corrected.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes of Thursday, July 12th, 2018 as corrected. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Next, we have the minutes of July 18th.
It's a tough one.
Make a motion to
Yeah, I
accept the
know.
minutes.
Second.
July 18th
Second.
as written.
So can you just make me this on everything? If you hear a couple voices, because it's my last name.
You bet.
Get my name in there.
You bet.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to accept the minutes of Wednesday, July 18th as written. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. Perfect timing. The next thing we have on our agenda will be the town administrator report.
Ready for me?
Sure, come on down. Are you ready for us?
You want me to stand up here?
Well, we were wondering if that's blocking Pat.
I don't think so.
Oh, let it stay there. Come on for that.
So you can hear me? Is there a microphone?
It's like
Oh,
Make her stand up.
We can slide it back a little bit.
It is a little bit.
No, that's fine, right where it is.
Just in case I need my calculator. There's no place to plug in here.
See,
No, I haven't seen you in so long.
See, it's getting smaller.
Wow.
Donna, Joyce hasn't started yet, so you can do whatever you need to do.
So my reason for being here is I would like a great photo, and that's what she needs.
Whoa.
And, Donna, you can give me a date for your final interest photos,
August 2nd.
August 2nd, still gonna be August 2nd?
Second, yeah, meeting.
So we said, we hadn't changed it.
And we need 2 minutes of Miss Ashley's time, because she doesn't return my phone calls.
Did you call me?
I did.
Oh, I don't have voicemail, so that's probably why. It's probably,
I wanted you to give your free little speech.
I would love to. Thank you for coming out.
We'll put them together somewhere for,
Yeah.
Well, good.
I don't want to interrupt you. This is your last night.
Well, go from the corner here, I'll lift the flag,
Get the-
put the flag
Yeah.
behind us.
Camera.
Take a brief recess.
Brief recess.
We'll be right back. We are red, red is on.
Okay, so we're back from a brief recess for a little photo taking there. Tonight is Ashley's last night, and she's leaving us. Which also, if anybody has an interest in being a selectman, get in touch with us as soon as possible. Send a letter in. So next on the agenda, well, actually, won't we do some selectmen's reports?
Not a report, but, sir, we've been doing our inspections Main Street, and I just noticed, in my opinion, it's getting shabbier and shabbier. Grass is growing up between the curb and the sidewalk,
Thank you.
between the building and the sidewalk, and we've got weeds growing in where the trees, and some of the trees have broken branches. So my thought is that we should hire Paul Rushlow, who already does that work in the park. He is fully licensed, he can get rid of the weeds, and he can do all the tree trimming. And, I think if we're gonna try to keep our Main Street viable, then it's gotta be appealing. Right now, it looks terrible.
I totally agree with you.
He could even, pick up some trash.
Yep, let's do it. And maybe in conjunction with that,
Or the prisoners could move it.
does Dawn have any, the kids picking up the trash first before he goes around? We could have a couple of kids pick up trash first, and then he can do the
Oh, I didn't even
the
think
labor
about
part.
using Dawn for that.
We can use,
Yeah, we could talk to, use assistants and see if some of their kids could do litter control.
I know,
Paul Rushlow, like I said, he's licensed with the
Yeah.
state, can do all the spraying. And he's trimmed the trees before, but he could periodically go through and get the dead branches out,
no,
weed around them.
2 years ago, we had a class on arbor pruning and all that. Remember, I went and attended it, and I think Brock just sent the guys out again to it. So it'd be nice if he could have somebody shadow with Paul on pruning of those trees at the same time, so that he learns a little bit about the branches on the trees and that, and our particular trees, and also help out with some of that.
it'd be nice, but he's right out straight with
Very
him
interesting.
down and doing down two employees. This one's limited.
Very understaffed.
It would be nice if he could, but I don't, right now he's very understaffed. That's a great idea. though.
Just mention it to him, that Paul's doing that, if there's
Yeah,
a
see
few
if he
minutes for somebody to check
So
it.
what's the
send Paul to it.
consensus,
Yes, get it done.
Peter? Paul Rushlow, Squires?
What are you estimating time?
I don't know, I'm saying him because he did it just a few years
Yeah,
ago,
I
he
did a
did
couple
that.
years ago.
So are we spraying or are we pulling?
Well, the weeds around the trees he'd have to pull,
Right.
and there's suckers growing up around that should be cut.
I don't know if you wait till September, if you get a FFA to do it at no charge.
And pruning of the trees, well, they can't do the spraying along the
Correct.
curbs in the buildings.
Correct.
So,
I think for what we paid Paul,
I don't care either way. I'd rather do FFA and keep it cheap. That's,
well, we could do, I mean, we can do it now, it needs to be done now, and
it's gonna come out.
FFA can come out, when they start school, we can have them do it.
Why can't we set something up on a regular basis with FFA? That'd be a great
That would be
program.
great, I think it's a great idea,
Why can't we do that?
but we need to do something now, because it really looks,
That'd be a great program for them.
Since we'll have Paul come in and do, I know the pruning of those trees is important, to get it done right.
also, if you have an opportunity, look at the one down by the, what is now the real estate office, which used to be the Prudential. The tree is leaning, but the tree is growing. It's the tallest tree on Main Street, and it's growing into the building and power lines. We may want to consider taking it down and putting in a door. I don't know what it is, but it's a big tree. And we've pruned it a couple of times. It was one of the ones that Paul did, because we had a
Yeah.
complaint from the owner. When
Yeah,
the
I've
bank
seen
still
it.
had it.
Yep.
Who was the last?
Paul,
Take it down?
well, Paul won't take it down, but
I had Public Works look at it, it's a small enough tree, but because of the power lines in the buildings, they may want professionals do it. But I'd have Public Works look at it first. That's if the board agrees they want to take
Well,
it.
I don't think we should take it down until we have something
Take a
else to go
look
in there.
at it.
ask Paul's opinion on it.
Because,
Yeah,
you know,
that's good.
if we keep taking things down, not putting them back, it's gonna be worse.
Well, my next question is, we contacted anyone about the tree we were gonna plant at Public Works and replacing the trees on Main Street that are dead?
And what about the trees on Main Street that are dead?
We were gonna replace them.
The ones on Main Street? No,
There's one that's dead down on
are you talking Main or West?
Main.
Main, right downtown.
Yeah, we did,
By Tryon.
we did one here, and we did one in front of the Gagney's place.
There's another dead tree there.
That was the
third-
that was the water.
Ice cream shop.
There's one over by the ice cream shop.
Oh, the ice cream shop?
It's dead. It is dead.
It's dead.
It's dead. Yeah. What is that, Tryon?
And we, Tryon Lane, right? Rescue Road. Rescue Road. They,
It ceases to live.
we talked about this last week, and we wanted him to replace that tree along with purchasing a Dennis Allen tree, but we wanted to make sure that the Dennis Allen tree was very specific to what we wanted, and we wanted also to invite the family, the Allen family, over when we dedicate it to when it's getting planted.
Self-pollinating fruit tree.
Yeah.
And the tree in front of, is it an ice cream shop now, or is it cupcake?
Ice
We
cream.
said,
It's ice cream
Brock had
shop.
ordered the tree for out here, so he should know what it is, and I'm pretty sure that's.
And that's why we wanted to go back to Brock, because Brock ordered, we want the
Yeah.
same tree.
And this one did really well.
Yes, and so we want the same tree in front of the cupcake shop. So, also, when Catherine contacts Paul, I think we should ask him his opinion on the tree in front of Northway Bank, because it is very, very large, and it is growing into the building, and eventually it's gonna get so big that we're gonna have to take it down. We don't wanna get into that situation when it's too late. And it costs a lot of money around power lines.
Oh, okay, so we're talking 3 trees now. The one near Northway is too big, one near the ice cream shop, and one near the cupcake shop.
Right now, the two immediate trees are at, Public Works,
Yep,
Yeah,
in front of the
Public
ice cream shop.
Yep,
The tree by the bank, we need to look
It's too
at
big,
and
yeah.
assess,
yep.
but we're not gonna take any action right now. The other two, we should be taking action on.
ice cream and the cupcake shop are the same building.
Okay,
That's the
but it's
same.
one tree.
Right,
Oh,
one tree.
all right, ice cream shop, okay.
Rescue Road, yeah.
Let's be real. And I'll see it, okay.
So,
I think just a good survey of the health of the trees from
Joyce, you have Paul's contact info, right?
Yep.
So you could contact him firsthand, because if I contact him, I'm just gonna have him call you.
Yeah, and so this will be under Squires landscape. It's not part of his regular.
The one tomorrow when he drops off.
Okay.
Yeah, he does Vest Pocket and the Civil War Pocket, Civil War Monument Park, at Squires.
He does that as Squires? I thought he did it as Paul.
No, he works in Riverfront Park as Paul. And when he worked on Main Street the last time, that was Squires.
Doesn't matter which one it is.
I know,
just
he's-
really want to get it done.
Yeah, and he's very extraordinary.
Even if we had kids doing, you know, one year we had someone that had community service that went down Main Street and did all the weeding and everything, and 2 weeks later, it was right back again. So it really needs to be sprayed and get it out of there. I really want to see that done.
Yeah, it's got to be kept up on a weekly basis. And eventually you get ahead, but if you get behind, I think everybody knows about weeding, how that works.
Yes. And best wishes. Thank you. Wish you all the best.
The other thing, just a reminder, we've got at 6 o'clock, Dick Montembeau is coming by to talk about historic memorabilia. And we have our 150th anniversary coming up next year, so we really need to get involved with that. And
So we'll look at the committee members.
what I'd like to do is create a committee.
Thank you,
Get your
Donna.
opinion. Town
Can I, Donna?
create a town celebrations committee.
Should we make some posters and put them up around town looking for a committee, for a celebration committee?
That's a great idea.
I mean, it's really, and I'd put some at the high school.
Put it on the website.
It's on the website. High school
It
kids.
is?
It is.
And I like the idea, the town celebrations committee. It sounds,
That's great. I'm sure Tilton House will put one up for us, Billy, Holly's.
get the news out there that it is our 150th.
Right, who wants to make the poster? Actually, that's something I can put up. Okay.
Okay, so we have town administrator report.
You got Brock's weekly update and the chief's weekly update.
Question on Brock's.
Yep.
Let's see, we referred to his FYI #1, road widths and lengths are listed in the 10-year plan found on Google Drive. The plan I find has road widths, but it has no years the projects are going to be done, so we've got a 10-year plan in it, 2 or 3 different places. And I don't know, because those road widths were developed under Dennis's domain, so I don't even know how accurate they are on that part. Because it's going to be increasingly more difficult for me to approve any paving work if I can't see how we're planning it for the town-wide.
Okay.
Thank you, Joyce.
Okay, the meeting with the Northfield Select Board, they were available on Tuesday, August 28th, but I got an email from Catherine saying that's planning board, that's their workshop, but they don't, in August, they don't hold a, they only meet
Right,
once.
but I mean, it just means I can't be there, but if, others can, that's fine.
Right, but I don't think the planning board will be meeting that night. Because during July and August, they only meet once.
Oh,
There you go.
cool,
Reprieve.
Unless some emergency or something comes up.
that's fine.
Okay, so is that a go?
Sure.
Sounds great.
Okay,
Yeah, just check her diary.
yep.
Say it again, what are we gonna do on that?
to talk with the Northfield Select Board about the, or Selectmen, about the island and, doing what joint projects need to be done while the two of us still own it. And then we can give a report on our progress with the research.
On the 28th?
So they start meeting at 7, so ask to be on right when they start.
7 PM?
Whatever works.
Okay.
And that,
And we'll send reminders. I sent the board a communication I received from Chuck Mitchell about appointments of inspectors for the elections. Did you all see that?
Yeah.
You all okay with that? Okay. Give me all the easy stuff. The 2017 audit has been completed. Tim had sent you copies, or he made copies for you. And this is the management representation letter that Tim and I worked on.
I haven't had time to look at them.
And it just needs to be signed by the board. Did he send you copies of the management letter?
I didn't see it.
They made copies and left them on the file cabinet in Jill's office.
Okay, so no one's read them yet?
And there
Well-
they are.
Okay. All right, well, the important part before they can finalize it is the management letter. So why don't I scan this and to you and email it so you can read it over the weekend. Got a good audit report, as usual. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. You want to do that? Or we can pass it around now and you can read it?
Does it need signatures?
Need
So
signatures.
isn't that management letter accepting the audit that we haven't read yet?
I would assume.
Well, basically, the auditor is saying that we, meaning Tim and I, and you guys approve it, confirmed to the best of our knowledge and belief as of June 22nd, all the representations we made to them for the audit were true, and we gave them all the information we had. And then they comment on it, and it says that everything's fine. Basically is what it says.
There's no way for us to know if you gave them incorrect information anyway.
Oh, no, Tim and I work closely.
I know you did.
And I go through it when it's done, and what was funny was I had a bunch of questions for Tim, and so I wrote it to Tim like I would be talking to him. Well, needless to say, when I hit reply, it went to Jim, not Tim, which so it was very familiar. It was a familiar conversation. So when Tim said, I didn't get that email from you, and then I looked, I said, oh my God. So I sent an email to Jim saying, OMG. I thought I was talking to Tim, but it was okay. He sent back and said,
Ah,
well, we don't have any borrowing right now, but I do know that a lot of the agencies that we borrow from and agencies that we have grants, they always want an audit report as soon as possible, so it's done. We'll let you review it, and then next week put it on the agenda for them to sign the management letter. And again, any questions, I'll send you my questions to Tim that went to Jim, that Jim answered, so I can share those with you. That's done, that's done. That's done. That's done, that's done. Okay, Tuscan Wall Property Boundary Retaining Wall. I heard from Annette, and I had emailed her and said, yep, the board read the letter, and they want to get together with you and Carmine and the fire chief and the public works director. We'll just all meet on site and look at it and talk about it and try and resolve it. And she called back and she said she wanted to know, well, why do we all have to meet? Because they both work. They live in Glasgow, I think it is. And they both work, and I haven't called it back yet, but we've been playing telephone tag, because she's off on Friday, and then Monday she has some appointments in the morning, but I'll try and reach her in the morning. I just wanted everybody to be on the same page, so, I mean, do we, on our own, want to go ahead and all meet and look at it and say,
Why don't we go meet with Public Works Director and
fire chief, okay,
And we're all on the
And then,
same page.
yeah,
We're
and-
not gonna be on the same page, because,
right, well, I mean,
We
he
need to be on
outlined
the
what
same-
he wanted in his letter, so, right, so we,
The issue is that we try to repair it as best as we can. Although you can't match the same color as what was there before. And I think that that's an issue with the owner. And so Brock makes a decision and repairs it, and it looks good repaired, but the color doesn't match. And I think that's, I'm only making an assumption that that's what he's looking at. So when you go out there and you meet with the fire and the public works and the selectmen, we're all gonna be on the same page. We're all gonna say, well, I think that really looks nice. But ultimately, we still have to meet the satisfaction of the owner so that we still can lease the parking lot. I don't know how that's gonna end up being fixed. You're not gonna replace the entire wall so they all can be the same color. That's ridiculous, because that's an expense that we can't afford.
and he wants them fastened.
They weren't fastened to begin with.
well, that's why I think we all need to look to see that what he's saying, what is there, what was there, and that way we can come up with a response to say they weren't fastened before. And I don't know what was damaged. I didn't see the damage before it was repaired before, so we're talking 2 or 3 bricks.
Well, we've taken,
Over the years,
this has been over the years, Catherine, that, you know, even prior to us leasing it, there has been damage that's been repaired by Dennis. When they've come around the corner on Center, going into Rescue Road, whatever. But it's been repaired, it's been minimal, but now that we are the ones that are plowing it, we're fire trucks and everything else has been a part of that. I think there's a lot of entities that are coming into play here, way before we started leasing it, and so when they, I think what I'm trying to say, articulate, is that when it was repaired before, it was fine. When they just went out and purchased stone and put them back up, and he would say, yes, okay, that's fine, and it would be okay, and it was a handshake, and then we walked off. But now it's not okay. It doesn't look okay. I went out there and actually looked at it, and I thought it really did look okay, other than it's different color brick. Now, I don't know how to resolve that. I don't think it's ever going to be resolved.
the wall still leans back and the wall's not level. What he'd like is to have the thing taken down to the base, then adjusted and leveled. At that point, the next two levels can be added. Right now, it's 3 levels.
Can I have some, this has been a wall that's been there for years and been patched and repaired on and off. So all of a sudden this year is the first time the bricks
No,
didn't match?
No.
Oh, no, last year.
No, not all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Last year it was the same issue and it got repaired, and a couple of years before that there was an issue and it got
I
repaired.
think
How
it's been
tall
3.
is this wall? That's the one I'm thinking. It's 3 courses of bricks.
Right.
Are there any types of markings on that wall that go over the height of the snow so somebody can tell where it is?
No,
That
that's-
cars don't drive
I
through?
mean,
No, but the other
So
is-
here, let me just finish, because we're gonna be facing this every single year and have to build it back up from the bottom unless we put some type of wall that can be marked so everybody knows the wall's there when we get a foot of snow.
But how do we know all the damage is attributed to snow plowing?
We don't.
Trucks?
We don't.
Let's start at that, at least. We need to establish a method of marking that wall better than 3 courses of bricks in what was a parking lot. It's not
There's the barriers.
I agree
clearly
with-
visible. There
No, I
needs some
agree
type
with
of
you.
posts,
Reflectors or
reflectors or
Just
posts,
wall.
so
But in the
it
meantime,
won't keep getting hit.
why don't we all go out with the fire chief, public works, address all the issues he comes and comments in his letter, and then we'll take it from there.
make sure that after this is done, that we have an agreement on some type of marker to clearly define it that can be seen easily and not hit by trucks backing up or.
Your problem is snow removal. I don't think it's anything else. They're lifting the plow up to get up over it. Sometimes they clear, sometimes they don't.
As I recall, I'll go back and look at the year that he purchased the building. And back then, I do recall that it was all paved, because that used to be a drive-through,
Yeah.
Right,
the bank.
right.
And then I remember him, the first time I met them, they came in, they're saying, oh, the water from the fire department is coming onto their land, and they don't want the water on their land. So I think that's why they, initially, they dug up the pavement, they did that themselves at their cost, dug up the pavement, put down the grass, and they paid for the wall, so that no one could encroach on it, because the town was just plowing and putting all their snow on it.
It's all
So
of us.
they put it up to keep us and the fire departments from having encroaching on their property, which is their absolute right.
And that's what was happening, and I remember, we clearly remember that. And then when the fire department comes out, they move some of the snow in front of their building right smack in there. It's no wonder that drain in front there is not filled with sand.
It
by
is, I looked at it, it is.
now. It is,
That should be,
should be cleaned out.
and that's us putting the sand down.
Mhm.
Put that on the
So we're not cleaning them, Public Works isn't cleaning
They,
that drain?
no, they haven't done this year's catch basin cleaning yet. That's coming up.
Well, let's
This
make
week's,
sure it's on their list.
it is, it's, the rain this week isn't helping.
It really needs to be part of it, but,
Right, we're gonna-
If it can't
We
be
should have
drained,
a
it can't be wet.
Yeah, I just, you know, we keep calling each other and emailing and everything, and everything else, Sam, oh, okay. You had asked, we were holding this check to DES, because we wanted confirmation on what the, you know, what authorization do they have to charge us for something that we've never asked for, it's been placed on us. And I emailed you the response that we got back, and it's like, I just assumed, so we could get going on this, let's go ahead and mail the check. And just get the project done.
The project, they're not going to be done with their testing for a while.
We don't know yet, I haven't,
We've asked over and over again. I remember the young lady sitting here telling us that, oh yeah, we'll do this for a couple of years because arsenic appears in the ground naturally, and it doesn't clear that this is, you know, from man's work. And that was 20 years ago.
is this the Ernie's part?
yes, just the Ernie's part, not the salmon run. Right, and the phone conversations I've had with him were, and I remember when, what was her name, the petroleum person, the girl?
Yep, nice girl.
Nice girl. She said, okay, their work is done now, they've turned it over to hazardous waste because of the very final Ernie's report, and that we have to deal with them, and hazardous waste doesn't have any money. It would mean doing some groundwater monitoring, possibly having to develop a whole groundwater monitoring plan. That's all stuff that you have to pay an engineer to do. It's not something I or Brock could do. And when, and so I knew it was gonna cost money, and then he called, it was late last year, it was before the budget cycle, and it still wasn't clear on what he was going to require. And I invited him to come up here, meet with the board, meet with conservation, and just say, look, and make our case. And he said, no, I don't need to come up, I was up there for your opening, and I know what you have to do, so call me when you're ready. And I says, well, we don't have any money budgeted right now, so I'm not doing anything, so it'll come in the next budget year. So we'll budget for this in 19, but I spoke to Crederi Associates a while ago. They said they'll be happy to come up and you know, review the report again and give us suggestions for us to go in and say, okay, this is really what we need. And then I also spoke to Novus Engineering, because they have a whole water quality department there, and they'd be willing to come up, review the information and say, okay, yeah, this is what you should need.
But it's not hazardous waste.
I know, but
They said man did not put that there, that arsenic is not from
It's typical.
well,
deposit.
I've got to pull the last report that we had from Jen Marks, that was her name, saying that that's what they were recommending. And he's recommending some
They
testing.
want us to spend a whole lot of money because arsenic's occurring naturally in the ground, which it
I know,
does.
I know. I've said all that.
Are there any other wells?
And I've got a bill now that's getting interest.
Natural wells?
With interest right now, it's 91.29, but when I did the check, it was 90.92. So I would just like to mail this check and see if they'll waive that little bit of interest, and I'll pull all the reports for you, you can look at them, and at budget time, we can sit down and decide. I say we all go down there.
I say mail the check.
I'd like to mail the check, and let's just all go down there.
I'll go down there.
Yeah.
Unless they don't mail the check. I'm not paying, I don't want to take this unfunded mandates, what it is.
You know, do I have a majority vote that I go ahead and mail the check?
The check is a bill for,
For DES to review the hazardous waste plan. Well, the report, and then will tell us what to do.
What happens if we don't?
Well, these are their administrative rules which have the force of law. It's no different than an ordinance we have.
So what they do to the town of Tilton is they refuse to pay the unfunded mandate.
They're going to say that they're not responsible for creating it, and that's where the law says that because we're the property owner, we're responsible for remediating
It's
it.
not hazardous waste.
well, they're not saying it's hazardous waste, it's a hazardous waste division which handles groundwater.
Right, which handles groundwater.
It's just under their purview. It's not-
Groundwater shouldn't be under hazardous waste.
Because they're saying it has arsenic in it.
Well, it's gonna go to the.
Okay.
How much is the check?
$90.92.
No, please.
I'd say pay it, and it's the last time we're gonna pay it until they come up with a good reason. I just can't. Is this the first bill they've sent us?
They've been sending me bills all along, but there was no expense because the engineer hadn't reviewed the plan. Once he sat down and reviewed our plan and said, okay, we're gonna make you test the water, you're gonna, let's see. He says, this is in the spring, I am aware of the current site conditions and use following the successful brownfields project completed a few years ago. However, the arsenic impact to groundwater still needs to be monitored. As I mentioned below, we would like to see additional monitoring on arsenic at MW2 and MW5R until the results meet our standards for 2 consecutive rounds.
And that may never happen if it's naturally
Well,
occurring
what
at
if-
those levels in
Have we
the
looked at
ground.
the last two?
Unless we dig it up.
We haven't done any since, the data we have to go on is the data when our brownfields project was completed. And that was when, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So that's the data that they're saying that there's 2 wells that are still showing high levels. So I told them, I said, well, we're gonna come to you with a proposal that, okay, we'll go ahead and test the 2 wells, but we're only gonna do it for 2 years.
I guess, what's going on? Catherine, Snow, Ashley? No.
Yes.
I'm a yes.
No.
So consensus is, do not send the check.
Okay.
Let's try and
You want
think
to go down
of,
there? Doesn't Mike Wimsett run that division?
Yes.
Brownsdale person, different part.
love to go down.
He was
Yeah, I
also
had-
over in Belmont.
New Hampshire DES Petroleum Bureau, Jennifer Martz. This is when I requested the check. Turned the project over to the Hazardous Waste Recovery Bureau. The town has to develop a groundwater monitoring plan for the state to approve. The town has to pay for this testing. This invoices the cost of the state's engineer to review the project and notify the town of what the requirements are. No funds have been budgeted for this project in 2018. I was waiting to hear back from the state to find out what they will require. So actually, I've received 3 invoices, and the interest is accruing.
Joyce, back up. We have to pay for the testing?
Yes.
Okay, then I hear that we're paying for them to review it. That's not testing, that's their review. So are we paying for their engineer to review the test results to come up with a plan? Or are we looking,
Well, I think that since this is such an issue, that a face-to-face meeting
That's fine.
will resolve those. Correct, Catherine?
I'm sorry, I was paying attention.
A face-to-face meeting would
Oh, yeah.
resolve it.
We need to have a face-to-face meeting, and everybody needs to read,
And I will have that for you.
especially Joe.
So the vote is not to pay it. Okay. So,
Someone coming in sick.
at 6. Okay. So, everything else I have was non-public, so. Would you want to do your selectmen's reports?
I ask a question.
Sure.
Do we have any time frame on when they're gonna do the work at the senior center, the joists under the floor, the repair work under the kitchen?
That's still in my pile on my desk. I will check with them. Ron. Paul Ron. Now, the board approved all that, right? We presented that? Yeah. And Highway's gonna be doing
Going
some.
to the people that did the
Oh,
work?
And our guys are gonna do some of the foundation work,
No?
correct? We're gonna have him do all of it.
He gave us a,
Yeah.
places for,
Yes.
I think you gave us the, of what was included in, we made a motion to accept it, and you were gonna get back to him. I don't know if you got back to him
No,
and
I have not, so.
to let him know that that work is,
When they're gonna do that. Now,
yeah.
is that gonna interrupt or interfere when he does?
Well, it's
the
all
work?
outside, so, I mean, it's.
Oh, right, because he's going in from the outside.
Right, everything's gonna be from the outside, so there's really nothing that's gonna interfere other than noise. I don't think there's gonna be that much.
We
So,
have- Okay.
I would say,
you need to let this kind of people know as soon as possible that you're giving them a job because
You're
Yeah.
busy.
people are busy.
yeah, I'm kinda worried about it because we need to know, we're waiting on Franklin Savings Bank to find out whether or not we got the grants for the senior center, which include some, what he bid to us, gave us a, which would include more work for him, and I don't wanna inundate him with work, all work at one time. Yeah, okay.
Did, Brock sent you an email, I'm on a completely different subject right now. The Class 5 road, the encroachments on the Pony Road,
Mm-hmm.
but he wanted to, because he's short, so the men, he would just like to contract out. They were gonna do the digging up themselves as much as they could, we needed to contract for some additional help.
I don't know what you're talking about before, but, oh, I didn't see
Put
it.
that in.
Page one of his report on the bottom, he's got some prices from the bid. I didn't know if we sent that out for bid.
To do what kind of work?
The cutouts.
Ditching, right?
No, it's the,
Why aren't we using?
all the cutouts,
Why
I
isn't he
think,
contacting the prison?
for the parking. I don't know what's called market.
Oh, yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, we
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, we received a bid to do the removal of the encroachments on Old Route 3. The bid is from Andrew Morris Construction, remove material down to 12 inches, replace with 1.5-inch crushed gravel, compact grade, prepare for pavement. The cost of this project is $9,350. I anticipate more bids soon.
Now, here's your problem, you may run into a schedule. What happens if order comes in and says, I'm doing it the first week of September, right after Labor Day?
I believe that's what he's planning on doing.
Well, these guys are gonna be doing their work after, that's, you're not gonna have both contractors in at
Right, to
once.
coordinate. Well, plus, he did contact Eversource, or what is it, not Eversource, Fairpoint is now consolidated, and then you're at their mercy for when they're gonna come and move the poles.
She is talking about the wood school.
Oh, I thought you were talking about in general. So
No,
you're talking about, we've got that huge bid,
right.
No,
And
Yes.
now we've got a,
Counter
and it
bid.
is a much more reasonable bid. He mentioned it to me
Yes.
yesterday, but I didn't see the
Right,
bid.
because as he's
So what are you
down,
asking the board?
he has,
I think he
I just
wants
want
to
to
do
make sure
it
you're aware of it.
now, and to me, it ain't gonna fly. You're gonna,
Well, if you can get this company to.
oh,
be-
okay, and then Porter says, I'm doing it the first week of September, and you say, no, you postpone, this is when we're gonna do it.
Well,
I
I'm
thought
sure-
we had decided we were doing the contract with Porter, and we'd come back at a later date and do the other stuff,
Yep.
because it's too late.
It was my understanding at the last meeting that you said that you wanted, after you saw that the bid came in, that you wanted Brock's guys to do the excavating, and Brock came back and said he would love to do it, but he's only got 2 people. Really,
Yeah,
2.5
next year,
people.
what's gonna happen? We
Oh,
were
no,
talking-
he was gonna do it this year.
It's too little, too late.
We
So-
decided that the time frame that we would wait until next year to do the encroachment portion.
Okay, I
When
thought you
he-
wanted to do it
Obviously, we're
now.
not clear,
Right.
so right now, the opinion of the board is,
Well, now that we have this bid, would that bid, that bid is reasonable, we could get it all done.
Hold on a minute.
Well, unless Porter says, I wanna do it, this is when I scheduled you. If you say, you're pushing me out, I'll be back next year. They could do that.
First thing,
There's too much money.
hey, hold on. We have a bid process, 3 bids. This is one guy that talked to Brock and sent in a price to us, and we're
No, it's
talking
more than
about
one guy.
this is
sent
the
out
second
3.
bid for this job.
And we announced the price and they all come into
There's
the
3
public
bids,
works.
right?
I didn't know it was getting sent out to bid.
He
Because-
sent out a lot of them, and these are the results of them.
At the last meeting, we decided that we would go and continue on schedule with the asphalt of the Winnisquam area as originally planned. The other part of that would be done in the future and added on by
Well,
Brock when he had time.
I
Yes, but in all
emailed,
fairness to Brock,
I
John,
emailed Brock that night, and
he
we
sent
talked
these
about it.
bids, he sent these bids out before that.
But
Did you know?
the bottom line is, we have
This is the same time
new
we sent the quarter
information
bill.
to add to our decision-making process. We have a bid that we didn't have last week or the previous week when we came to the conclusion and had that discussion, and then came to the conclusion. So now we have new information. This is the second bid I've seen for that portion of that project. And I don't care if it's late or whatnot, but that's an extremely reasonable price.
This isn't the second bid for the same thing. The other one included paving and everything too. This is just for digging out the gravel.
It's still a cheap price compared to what we got before.
Okay. Ashley?
It's a consistent pattern that when we do these bids, especially for construction, people are bidding on different things. We need to have a uniform information for all of them to know exactly what they're bidding on. We tell them what they're bidding on, material or whatever. I know.
No, the problem was is that the selectmen changed their,
So we need,
Scope of work.
then we need new bids from the companies that we got previous bids from.
and we,
Yeah.
have to be able to compare apples to apples.
You can't,
When we're-
we got a contract.
we already signed a contract, and the board decided after they signed the contract that they wanted to remove the encroachments. That bid came in very high, so at the meeting of July 20th, that while you were talking at your meeting, I emailed Brock and I said, the board reviewed the Porter's bid for the additional work to remove the encroachment and decided that they're not going to contract with him to do the excavation work. So they let him do the paving, but not the excavation. They want the highway department crew to remove the encroachment and prepare that area for paving.
So why did we add this on?
They had already, the board had already always talked about it, but had never made a decision on the encroachments. We had our public hearing.
It was after the public hearing that
It was after the public
Right.
hearing,
So-
long after the
Don't we have to
bid.
be more careful about signing onto contracts or, making sure that we are putting out the right information?
Correct. Correct.
But
Lesson learned. We
So
Still.
Porter's bid would just include the amount to return to pave the area. And so Brock got back to
That's
me.
still gonna be wide open on them because it's, I don't know if they'll extend the paving, or are they gonna say it's more handwork, it's higher priced?
So you really can leave Porter out of the equation.
Right, so Brock
So
went,
now
looked at it, and
finish
he,
reading right now, please.
okay, so Brock looked at it, and we talked about it, and he sent you an email, Catherine, I think it was just you, I don't know if he sent the whole board, saying that the highway department would be happy to do the excavation work, but he has an employee that's gone for 2 weeks at, he's a, what do you call it?
Military.
Military. He has another employee that's out for 2 weeks on vacation, and he's down to just himself and Wyatt.
But that's all we've done then, because we're not asking you to do it now.
Right, but still, and plus he's short a person, and
Well,
he's
so
got
we
all his
weren't even-
regular work. So he said, let me contact some people and see if I can get a price to have them come in and quick do the excavation. And we're
Something
ready
went
for
wrong here,
paving.
because the last meeting was very explicit that we said we are going to continue with what we had planned. We planned this for 2 years. That will get done. We are not going to do the other. We will contact Eversource. We will give plenty of time to the abutters to remove their...
Okay, so you don't
things
want
from it.
that work done this year, so why did you have me contact Brock to get the excavating?
Just,
Now,
we didn't.
We didn't.
We,
you didn't want him to excavate it now.
no, it was gonna be after the fact,
Yeah.
because it's too little too late.
And then you want Porter to come back and pave it?
No, that's gonna be a whole new
Yeah, we got budget for
paving
that
at that
next
point,
year.
Joyce.
It's going to be next year, all next year's budget.
The
So,
next year's budget.
miscommunication.
All right, I want to go back and listen to the minutes.
Do we have it clarified as to what we're doing now?
That's a good point.
Yes.
Let's
I
clarify.
hope, because it
Continue
seems,
with what we accepted the bid for to start after Labor
Okay.
Day. And that's, and we asked for Brock to go up there and to look at, because we want to have him do the excavating after the season is over, so we won't interrupt things.
Okay, so do after.
it'll be next year.
And next year, we'll have it on the budget.
All right, well, then that's me then, because I missed that completely,
So,
because,
quite frankly, if Porter goes in there and does the work right after Labor Day and it's done in September, then Brock can go in there at the end of October. Why wouldn't we have him do it in October?
I just soon give the pavement longer to cure, rather than getting the excavators, trucks and everything on it, turning tight corners and tearing your pavement. But
I don't want,
And I'm glad
we,
you said
this has all
that,
been
because,
scheduled.
so I'm back to just me. I'd love to see that work get done before Porter gets in there, exactly what Peter said, because I've seen the damage that they can do to pavement, especially new pavement, so, just me.
well, if he can get somebody, if he can get somebody in there before
And
Porter.
how are we paying for it, Catherine? Every time this comes around, we're sucking more and more money out of the highway
reserve.
account. It's like,
Yeah.
we're gonna be pretty soon having no money for paving,
Right, well, then next year, we just put more into the capital reserve.
providing the taxpayers say
Right
yes.
now, we put, what do we put
Let's
in
just
every
go
year,
back.
75?
We have accepted bids, a scheduled date, and we have that scheduled to be paved right after Labor Day to do with, these are all boating places and all on the water, to have that done. Let's not interrupt that. We've been planning this for 2 years. We had a hearing with all the abutters.
Right, because they've written
We're
a
not
letter.
interrupting that, we're just adding extra work,
Okay.
and trying to figure out when to have it done, so we're not interrupting.
We also told them that we would do it after then, so not to interrupt.
Right.
the summer traffic.
So, like I said, if we did
I
it,
think we're all-
that's just me.
Okay.
Wasn't
All right.
This is getting nuts.
Okay.
Too much miscommunication.
Well, we can't move on because it's not clarified. I mean, I'm confused now as to what we're doing.
We got one project that we had bid on, doesn't include what people have encroached on.
And next week, we'll talk about how that is and
And then
maybe
you have
probably.
a separate project dealing with the encroachment that we've never really crafted and set in stone. It's just always been kind of hanging, just like it is tonight.
Well, unfortunately, I think we put it out to bid, and then we had an engineer come up with this nice plan which had all these add-ons, which has caused the problem.
I'm sorry, but that first bid that came in last week.
I'm going to make a motion to table this until the next meeting, because whatever everybody's saying, everybody's saying something different. Let's look back at the minutes, we can clarify it that, because we're not going to get anywhere with this.
So next meeting,
was-
come prepared with.
Prepare, look what we
minutes.
decided on,
I won't, but you guys need to.
tosses back and forth for a while.
That's it.
We've got, you all set?
Was that a motion or just a, nobody seconded it?
I made a motion to.
I'm glad I brought it up.
Nobody seconded it, okay, that's fine.
Oh, we gotta get the polls moved anyway, so.
That's fine.
And I don't think that Winnisquam Market, they've even thought about, they'll confused more of what they're doing. It'll get done. I just want to get done.
We did the whole
Nothing
thing.
has happened.
Yeah.
I think we'll do more research, come back with more information next week.
Okay, so we've, you're all set, Joyce?
Yes, and the rest is all done with them.
Thank you, Joyce.
We have, Dick Monkenbo showed up. You, some historical memorabilia. You discussed that with us.
Picture of you and Pat Clark in the old home day parade wearing the barrel.
Yeah.
It was after the school district meeting when Sanford snuck in behind everybody and changed the school formula.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I don't think my knees have straightened out since. That barrel that kept coming on me. An old apple barrel. It was full of this stuff. Cactus got you over a barrel
Yeah.
and boxed in by cactus.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm up.
Yeah.
You're up. I was supervisor checklist here for a couple of years. And we were throwing away these cards. These were, when you come to vote, you had to read one of these cards. And you had to be literate. And I tested it all out and find out, when it was enacted. This was enacted in 1790, that you had to be a male and literate. But
Yeah.
you had to read
Can I see it?
and I can remember doing that, and one of the cards here I remember reading.
No.
And I thought it would, we were gonna throw them away, and I said, I think I'll keep them, and someday I'll put them on a plaque, and some of the people can look at it.
Well, it shows how far we've come.
And I remember the time when it was repealed, and some citizens of the town came to vote because they couldn't read or write. And they needed assistance, and ever since then, we've given them assistance.
Okay, we haven't had any poll tax.
So I thought it was,
That's history.
it's history, it probably was not right, but it's history. All right. This here,
We'll have to encase that in glass so no one destroys it.
this here is the railroad. When they were coming through town in 1848, they went around and bought up all the rights along the railroad track. These are the names of the people you'll probably see over here. Tilton property where they bought. There was a turntable down on the Northfield side.
What year?
A good friend of mine, and he took over the railroad for the state. His name was John McCullough, and I think I've got a paper in here somewhere. And he wanted, I ran a machine shop, and I was looking for a building, and he wanted me to buy this one. It was across from the depot, the freight depot, right across from the Legion. And it was right here. Well, we went through the whole thing trying to find out. I made a bid on it to the state, and then they found out they needed 3 bids and all kinds of other things. In the meantime, they were tearing down the railroad station in Concord. So we went down there, and they were just throwing stuff away. And I found this map, along with a few other documents, and I saved them. I wish I'd saved all the maps now. They had a whole bunch of them. And but this is Tilton in Northfield, and I thought it was something we should keep. I did make some copies of it. I gave one to
to Ellen Latta that has the depot now. And
Is that the
So
track
we can
that
have-
used to go to Belmont Junction, or is that the one that continues?
that's why they continue to Laconia.
Cool.
But, you know, if you look at all of the dates on it, it goes back in, way back in 1848, I think. Yeah, I wish I'd taken all the maps that they had down there. I didn't. I was only interested in that one because I was interested in that one building. And I found out the state owned the building, they didn't own the land under it. So the state had to go and purchase the land from the speculators. And they were in Maryland. And you know, 1848 when they came speculating where they were going to put depots and freight yards and things of that nature.
Oh, thank you for bringing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, wait a minute, I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
Okay. A couple of elderly women in Laconia that you, my mother, and called me up one time and said, "Oh, you're into antique cars, and we get a lot of pictures of old cars. And we don't know what to do with it. You come up and take a look at it." I did that. And I went up and looked at these pictures, and I said, I know this house, I know these people. This is Mr. Peabody, Arthur Brown's father-in-law. That's his car. We determined that's a Durant. I wrote on the back of it what we thought. I own a savings bank at ground level on Main Street, and it looks like dirt road. So I thought I'd save that. And here's another car that he had. That is in the barn next to where the Black Swan Inn is. That's down there. That's a right-hand drive car. And we think that may still be the same vehicle, but we're not sure. And that was like down underneath the barn. There's Mr. Brown, his wife, and I don't think that's his mother-in-law. I think that he might be the maid. And I have made pictures of this before and put it on the thing on like November election.
Is
And
that
say
Bell?
they're going to vote.
Is that Bell?
That's Bell Peabody Brown, yep.
No.
That might be his mother-in-law, but I'm not sure. Mrs. Peabody. I gave the Black Swan Inn a bunch of pictures of Mr. Brown, the Peabodys, and people like that. And this is Mr. Peabody, that was Tilton Mills, and that's where he, that was before Tilton Mills Belt, and there used to be a woolen mill, textile mill, some sort.
What year is that?
And that's Mrs. Peabody. That's the house across the street. And if you look over here, there aren't any houses. And then over here, this is the house where, well, it used to be Dr. Nordholm's place, way in the back. So that's probably right around the turn of the century.
Well, Nordholm's, isn't that on Winter Street, isn't that
It's on Winter Street,
by
yeah.
where husband is now? That's next door to me. Can I
It's
see that?
the house just past Cedar Street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right across the street from me.
Then just looking at in that pile of stuff with that, I found this letter from Joel Nordholm from the state, and he was trying to buy some piece of property from Gibson Woolen Mills, and that was for a Chamber of Commerce. So I thought, you know, it was worth saving.
Nice.
Very nice.
That's been my problem all my life. I save too much stuff. Now I'm trying to downsize it.
That's really neat. That's-
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank
These
you.
are really neat.
Now, what are we doing on the island for the abutments?
You mean keep it, oh, the abutments to the bridge?
The abutments to
We're trying
town pull the
No, the-
island up.
Oh, those.
The upstream side.
Hey,
Northfield,
why I say that,
Not the-
5 years ago, a bunch of us, like gentlemen, got together, and we were just shooting the breeze, and we were kind of looking for a little project. And most of us have done construction work. My cousin Claude, you know,
I don't know.
we scoped the thing out. And what we were gonna do was just go in there at, when they have the drawdown on the river with a small excavator and walk it across on plywood, pull all the stone, the cut stone out of the river, up on the dry land, see what we got. Then our game plan was to put a footing in later, see what kind of grants we can get so that would be no cost to the town. But apparently somebody must have got wind of it, because they put it in a warrant article, and then they put it in the committee, the study committee, and your father told me one time, when something goes in a study committee, forget about it, might as well table it.
I think one of the things is times have changed that DES has so many rules that we can't go and disturb the river or bed
Yeah.
by mechanical
But
means.
you gotta save the island.
We
Right.
do.
Yeah, I
And so
agree with
what
you.
we did is we started saving money, and put money aside, so we can do the engineering and submit that to DES to get it done once and for all, to get the footings in and get all that done. About a year ago, talked to DES, and they said if we were just lifting up some stones that fell off the wall by
Non-mechanical.
non-mechanical, without, putting equipment into the river, we could do that. So that would be similar to using like a tripod and chain fall and set them back into place as a temporary measure until we get the engineering.
I was looking to do a permanent measure.
Yeah, so what happened is we contacted Northfield and said, we're putting money aside
Yeah. But
to do this.
We had people from both Tilton and Northfield.
Northfield's not dark, so.
So both towns would have to split that because we're both owners. We put a significant amount of money, I think we have about 30,000,
45, I think.
45,000
Northfield raise and appropriate.
put aside to do it. When Northfield came around to put it on their warrant, they turned that down
Each year.
each year, so they haven't saved any money for it. So
See, this was really gonna cost either town one nickel.
But it wouldn't, however, in fines from DES, they can't do it. But, so what we're doing is since Northfield isn't really interested in doing a lot of that stuff, we are in some negotiations, discussing and researching Tilton purchasing, or taking over ownership of the island.
Taking over ownership of the island, which passed in both towns this year. They're willing to give up the ownership if the heirs, and we're doing the research now on that, and Tilton passed it, and Northfield passed it, so then Tilton would own the island, and then we could go after it in a very different way, like you said,
Yeah.
we could go after it in a very different way and get the thing done, and save the
Get some
island.
grants.
Get some grants, go after grants, and get it done, because we have to save the island.
Well, first thing you gotta do, you gotta pull that, the cut stone out and see exactly what you got there.
We had some folks take a look at it, and, because we did have permission to get somebody, ideally, with a tripod chain fall,
Yeah.
hold them up, and get them close to where they should be, protect them, and also.
Get a small excavator out there.
See, that's the thing.
Can we get a permit just to get it out,
Yeah.
get them out of the water?
We'd already gone over to BBC
Can't put
and
anything.
contacted them and see if we could go in through their property, at low water. And
Can you-
disturb anything.
Can you run a crane from Route 3, high enough boom, and just pick, because you're picking up, you're not in?
Yeah.
You could, but that'd be quite a crane.
We can't disturb the riverbed.
Just a small excavator is all you need to pull.
Well, yeah, but that requires a permit before you blink an eye, as soon as you touch the water with that.
But, so,
You can't.
I mean, we're right on trying to get that done. Does any help?
Well, he's gotta get it
And
over
the
the
first
island.
step would be to cut down some of
Can't get the
the
excavator to the
red
island.
tape that has to be done by having both towns approve any work
Can't go
You
there.
don't see
before it gets done.
You gotta cross the river to
Two
get to
towns,
the
two
island.
counties.
No.
But if you know anybody that could do like the non-mechanical, you know, chain faulting, tripod type thing to get them at least.
8,500 pounds, I hauled it over
These
to Judy's house.
We just,
That's the old way of doing things. You get a, you get a small excavator over there.
You can get one that'll go across the bridge, you're all set.
Yeah.
What's that?
You
Yeah.
cannot, you know, you can barge it across,
Yeah.
or you can get one at 3 o'clock in the
You
morning.
can't go in-
drive
you can't
up,
disturb the
write
river.
Notices and say, oh yeah, I went across the bridge. Just saying.
Mr. Montano, if you could leave us your phone number, we can keep you posted about,
Okay, yeah.
after the,
another thing we have coming up is our 150th anniversary is coming up, and we're looking for people to participate in the town celebration committee. And maybe some historical information about it and how those celebrations were held in the past. I don't know if that'd be something you could help out. Yeah, because let's see, like 100th anniversary and 50th.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Every-
live somewhere else, but I'm gonna be a citizen. My intention is to move back here sometime. Right now, I just told my property I'm living with my daughter.
Well, if you can help out in any way with that, because it's
That'd be great.
150th. Find out how they,
You can add a lot to that history.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
very much.
Thanks, Dick. Appreciate
day.
it.
Good to see you.
Thank you. All right, well, we need to leave on a good note.
Yeah, think about that island. He's got some great points on
Well, I'm
that.
gonna get, we're gonna go.
That'd be interesting if we get a small excavator.
You can't.
You could plywood it over, or you're gonna be getting rid of it.
Now, as soon as the tracks are going through the water,
The
it's
next
gonna
thing
say
we
a
have,
permit.
I'm all for it.
Go-
Chief's gonna join us tonight at T-Hop.
okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we go into non-public as per RSA 91-8:3, paragraph 2. B, the hiring of any person as a public employee.
And we're gonna let Ashley second
Second.
that. No, we're gonna let Ashley
Second.
So last night,
So we have a motion in a second.
Why didn't
All
you
those in
just make
favor
the
say, nope. Roll call vote.
Thank him.
Why, Dustin says yes.
Will you turn my sign for me?
Scanlon, yes?
Can I say it? No, I've gotta wait for Ashley. Well, yes.
Yes, you may.
Constantino,
We are red is on, time being 8:15.
Okay, welcome back from our non-public session here. Do we want to make a motion to seal the minutes?
I'll make a motion to seal the minutes.
second.
All right.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
so moved. Okay, I also want to, last week we had a discussion about some realigning of positions within the police department. So I want to read this into letter. This letter is an agreement between the chief of police and the current corporals for Evelyn to a lateral promotion to the rank of sergeant. The terms of these positions are as follows. A, the following corporals are to be promoted to the rank of sergeant with an effective date of August 2nd, 2018. Corporal Luke Pinal, Corporal Nathan Buffington, and Corporal Brian Kidkeeler. B, Appendix A shall be amended to reflect that the effective August 2nd, 2018, and for the remaining term of 2017 through 2020 CBA. The wage rates applicable to the rank of corporal shall now apply to the rank of sergeant. C, the new wage for the rank rate for the rank of corporal shall be vacant. I should let you read this.
No.
I got this big stone. D, the terms of the MOU shall not result in any increase in pay or other compensation to the employees being promoted or costs to the town. And then E, notwithstanding the provisions of Article 27, seniority layoffs. There shall be no change in seniority amongst the corporals who are being promoted to sergeant under this MOU. E, this agreement shall not establish any practice or precedent for future dealings between the parties. So a copy of this is also in the minutes, will be attached to the minutes for this meeting.
To the CBA.
It's in the, it'll be referenced in the minutes.
Anybody want to be
Yeah.
referenced in the minutes? And this is an attachment to the
CBA,
CBA,
Collective bargaining
which
agreement.
is...
collective bargaining agreement.
So that's it. Anything else, anybody?
I just have one question. Wait a minute. Have we gotten any letters of interest?
We have not.
Okay.
So, to date, we have not received any letters of interest for anybody that wishes to be a selectman. We will be appointing a selectman as soon as possible. We'd like to get some letters of interest first.
By August 2nd?
And on August 2nd is the deadline for sending those in, and then after that, we'd be making an appointment.
I have one more thing to say, unless you're going to say it.
Yep. Go ahead.
I just want to wish Ashley well, and it's been an honor working with you.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
And I just want to thank everybody, you know, and the town of Tilton for giving me this opportunity. It's been such an experience. There's such a wealth of knowledge that sits at this table every Thursday, and I've learned so much from each one of you. And I want to thank you guys for that. And I'll miss you guys.
I have a couple things under selectmen's reports. That was cut off, 2 hours ago.
That was about 2 hours
I
ago,
know,
sir.
yeah, and it was over on that side of the table. It never made it down.
Have at it.
Okay, first off, F-550. Are we gonna decal it? Why do we have an unmarked truck going around town? No. And, yeah. Next thing, movies in the park. Tilton Northfield talking, I'm trying to help out, and of course they ask what the problem. I can't give them any answer.
Contact Elizabeth Murray.
That's what they keep saying, but it's like,
Contact Elizabeth Murray.
okay,
Or Richard Ord, I understand he's.
Do you want her cell phone number?
no. I don't have it.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that was a great program, a great thing started for Tilton, and I think there's just been some hiccups this year, but hopefully it will continue.
Okay. I got one last thing. This Saturday, household hazardous waste, Belmont and Franklin locations are this weekend. Some of the things you can get rid of are mixed motor oil, stains, varnishes, pool chemicals, gas, diesel, sealants, roofing tar, antifreeze solvents. Yeah, if you have old gas. Huh? It's 8:30 to noon. 8:30 to noon. Belmont Fire Station on 140 or Franklin Public Works. Has to be non-latex. Latex paint you just put in kitty litter or whatever, let it dry out. It has to be oil-based or lead-based. The regular latex is not hazardous. So that's this weekend. The following weekend, they're up in Bristol, Laconia, Center Ossipee, and Moultonborough. That's it. Comes with.
Motion to adjourn?
We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Pat. All those in favor say aye.
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 It's
So
not
moved.
quiet. See you later.
Thank you.